Good afternoon. It's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the afternoon weather update. We do this every day here, Monday through Sunday. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook Live. So if you're joining us from Facebook Live or even YouTube, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully I'll be able to answer it all as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But let's get started here. We're going to break down the details of tomorrow night's alert day. We're talking about the potential for some severe storms. In addition to that, a major drop in our temperatures and even the potential for a few scattered light snow showers. So here's a look at that greater alert day detail graphic here. We're primarily concerned with that potential for some damaging wind gusts and even embedded tornadoes within that line of storms we're expecting to move in here from west to east. And then behind that line of storms is when we'll see that major drop in temperatures, which may convert some of those lingering rain showers over to some snow showers overnight and into very early Monday morning. It's going to be fairly light, not expecting much of an impact from that portion of the alert day, but definitely still looking at some severe storm potential here as we get into tomorrow night. The SPC updated this at around 12:30 this afternoon, maintaining that level 3 out of 5 risk for severe thunderstorms. So numerous severe storms possible here Sunday night and into the overnight hours. And taking a look at each individual risk, not much change with each risk here. Again, our primary concern is with that threat for some damaging wind gusts. You can see we've been upgraded to that 45% chance of damaging wind gusts, along with those hatch marks indicating that they could be intense damaging wind gusts upwards of 75 miles per hour possible, but mostly expecting widespread 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts with those lines of storms that are expected to move through. And then the biggest change that we've seen since yesterday is that upgrade across western Kentucky to that 10% tornado risk there. That is that yellow color. And then again, we see those hatch marks across the entire tri-state indicating that we could see up to EF2 strength tornadoes if we see any develop. Now, with the fast moving nature of this shower and thunderstorm activity, we're not concerned about that threat for flooding. It'll just be moving in and out of here pretty quickly. And then hail, not really a big threat for us either, but they did sneak a little portion of the tri-state there, southwestern corner, into that 5% chance for maybe some large hail. So that can't be completely ruled out, but the main risks here are going to be that potential for damaging winds and even some tornadoes embedded within that line. So let's get the latest look at timing here, and that's actually remained fairly consistent with each model run. And I'm going to show you several different models here showing the same idea, maybe a little bit of a difference on the order of an hour. But here's a look at the HRRR model. This one's to put out that line across portions of southern Illinois, west of the tri-state there at around 5 p.m. with maybe a few prefrontal showers developing, but I don't really think we'll be in a very favorable environment to see any thunderstorms out ahead of that main line. We really are going to require that forcing from the cold front to actually get any thunderstorms to bubble up. But it wants to bring that line of showers and storms right up and along the Wabash River there by around 7 o'clock, and then pushes it into the Evansville area by around 8, and then out towards Owensboro, Tell City, and Hartford by around 8:30, 9 o'clock before clearing off by around 10:30 and 11 with some of those lingering rain showers there behind that main line. But that main severe threat is going to be coming in along the leading edge. So once that leading edge clears the area, that severe weather threat comes to an end, and then it's just going to be left with some scattered rain showers that will eventually maybe turn in to some scattered snow showers with that colder air crashing in on the backside. Now, taking a look at the NAM model here, it's going to show a very similar output. However, it does keep it a little bit later by about an hour. So we're looking about an hour in difference in timing here, and that's a day out. So that's some pretty good forecast confidence with these shorter range models. But here we are, Sunday afternoon. We'll have warm air streaming up from the south. It also wants to bring in that potential for maybe a few prefrontal showers before that main line begins to move in. But that main line moves into southern Illinois between 6 and 8 o'clock, and then eventually pushes into the Evansville area, Henderson, maybe even down towards Madisonville, up towards Princeton by around 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and then out towards Owensboro, Hartford, Tell City by around 10, and then it clears it off to our east by around 11 o'clock tomorrow night, with some of those scattered rain showers continuing on behind the leading edge of that line. Now, taking a look at the graph model, but it doesn't look like it wants to load for me. It shows a very similar output there, with that line beginning to push in from west to east, generally between 6 and 8 across portions of southern Illinois into the Evansville area by around 9 o'clock, and then off to the east between 9 and 10. So we're looking at Sunday evening there, but we're going to take a look at some of the limiting factors. What do we have going for the severe weather threat, and what do we have going against that severe weather threat? And we have plenty of lift. This is going to be a very potent cold front. That lift acts like a wedge. It's going to push up all that surface air, that warm, moist air, up into the atmosphere, and then it's going to grab hold of that very strong wind shear that we have aloft. So that is where we are expecting that potential for those thunderstorms to kind of get going there along the leading edge of the front. However, we are lacking sufficient moisture. Our dew points are only going to be in the mid, maybe upper 50s ahead of that front, and that also brings down that potential for instability. We only have a couple hundred joules per kilogram, but the strength of that front and the magnitude of our shear, we think it'll kind of overcome those two factors, and that will bring us that potential for that severe weather. So we're still keeping an eye on it here, but it is becoming more and more likely that we'll see that line of storms begin to push in. So kind of just recapping what I just said, we are on alert there for Sunday night specifically for that potential for severe storms. And again, across the entire tri-state, so from west to east, those storms will be moving in across southern Illinois by around 7 p.m. and then clearing off to the east of the tri-state by around 11 p.m., maybe lingering into midnight with some of those rain showers behind then. And our main hazards are going to be that potential for some damaging wind gusts, potentially up to 75 miles per hour, tornadoes embedded within that line of storms, potentially up to EF2 strength, and then behind those storms, cold air moves in, and then we see that potential for a few scattered light snow showers overnight and into early Monday morning. So here's kind of a look at that. We may see some of that changeover there happening overnight with some of those snow showers, and then as some moisture wraps around the backside of the system, some scattered light snow showers will be possible here through Monday morning, perhaps even lingering into the first part of the afternoon before drying out. Now, we're not expecting much in the way of accumulation or impact from those snow showers. We could maybe get a coating up to a ½ an inch on the higher end in some spots on grassy and elevated surfaces only. Those ground temperatures are going to be very warm, very much above freezing. We're going to be in the 70s Sunday afternoon before we come crashing down into the upper 20s to around 30, waking up Monday morning. So bridges and overpasses may get a few slick spots out there, but I'm not expecting much of an impact from those snow showers. And you can see here, looking at our winter storm impact, looks like my graphics are really lagging out there today, but we show very minimal impact from the winter aspect of this storm system. So that's not too much of a bigger deal. The bigger deal here is going to be that potential for some severe storms. But even outside of those severe thunderstorms, it is going to be a very windy day. We're looking at already a wind advisory across the entire tri-state. Gusts over 40 miles per hour will be possible throughout the day Sunday ahead of that front. So you want to keep that in mind. And here's kind of a timeline on some of those stronger gusts. It looks like this doesn't want to load for me either, but we are looking at that potential again for 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts within that wind advisory area. And we're looking at potentially some falling limbs. Again, this is outside of any thunderstorms that we see, blowing objects like trash cans, any lawn furniture. So you want to make sure you're either bringing those inside or tying them down real tight. And if you're driving a high profile vehicle, you may have some difficulty there, especially going from west to east, because those winds are going to be coming up out of the south. So you want to be careful there. You may feel the wind tugging on your wheels just a little bit, especially if you're driving a truck. But let me go ahead and check out the comments for you. Zach Seeks asking about timing. Again, we're expecting them to move into the Evansville area anytime between 8 and 9 o'clock tomorrow. That still may shift on the order of a half hour or an hour, but that seems like a good bet for right now. Terry Cox brings up a good point. At least it's not when everyone is sleeping. Yeah, originally when we put out this alert day a few days ago and we started to get some of those long or shorter range models in, those lines of storms were moving in a little bit later and it looked like it would linger into the overnight hours, but it does look like all of this will come to an end, or at least the severe weather threat will come to an end before midnight. So that is good news. No one has to really stay up all night long in fear or anxiety. So that is good news. But Laura Gray, she's watching from Dawson Springs. Thank you for joining us. Zachary is surprised that we're not in a moderate risk already. Yes, we were on a call with the National Weather Service a little bit earlier at around 1 p.m. And they were talking about, those upgrades, at least specifically for that wind threat, up to that 45% risk area. And typically when you see that, you get bumped up into that moderate risk. But we're kind of hanging at the higher end of that enhanced risk there. So if we do see any additional upgrades, we would likely get put up into that moderate risk. But for now, we're sticking with that enhanced risk from the Storm Prediction Center. Either way, we're looking at the potential for numerous, maybe widespread severe thunderstorms here with that line moving through. All right. Ty Tremmel says he's getting the grass cut today. Yes, hopefully, you're taking advantage of today, because today is a gorgeous day. It's sunny out there. It's warm. There's no issues for our Saturday. So if you want to do something outside like yard work, maybe do some grilling, eat dinner, have a picnic, whatever, do that today, because that'll be the best day to do it. But let's look ahead here at what we can be doing to prepare for this alert time Sunday night and into Monday morning. So you want to stay up to date with the latest forecast. So if you're watching this stream, you're doing the right thing. You want to make sure that you have several ways to receive warnings, making sure that they're working. We recommend a NOAA weather radio, as well as the 14 First Alert weather app. They'll will send you those warnings directly to you relative to your current location. And you also want to be thinking about where you're going to go and where you're going to be at the time that these storms roll through. So are you going to be at work? Are you going to be potentially at a store? Are you going to be at home? You want to know where you're going to be so that you can plan out your safety route and your safety areas before these storms roll in. Now, during the First Alert Weather Day tomorrow, as we fine-tune the exact timing and the details here, you want to adjust your plans. You want to make sure you're reminding your family or whoever you're living with or whoever you're going to be with of the safety plan in the event that you are placed under any kind of warnings. And you want to ensure that the area that you're going to for safety is clear. A lot of us choose some sort of interior closet, an interior bathroom, away from any exterior walls or doors and windows. But a lot of times we have some clutter in there, especially if we haven't really had any severe weather threats like this up to this point. So you want to make sure that is cleared out and readily available for you to seek shelter in, so that you don't have to worry about that by the time something is issued. And then if a warning is issued, you want to make sure you're taking action, going to that safe place away from windows or exterior walls, getting low to the ground, covering your head. You want to bring some sort of cushioning with you, whether that be a bike helmet is preferred to protect your head. But you also want to grab couch cushions, pillows. You want to throw that over your body, and a good sturdy pair of shoes. We recommend boots, because in the event that you do sustain any damage from these storms, you don't want to walk out of your safe space and potentially step on a nail, glass, metal, or wood, because that could further injure you. And that's not something that we want. So, beyond the alert day here, we're talking about that major drop in our temperatures. We're going to see temps in the mid-70s possibly by tomorrow afternoon, along with those strong southerly winds kind of advecting in that warmer air. But when that front crosses over, we're going to see a huge drop in those temperatures, all the way down into the upper 20s to around 30, waking up Monday morning. And then we don't really warm up much above that headed into Monday afternoon, topping out right around freezing, along with the potential for some of those light scattered snow showers. And then it gets even colder there, headed into Monday night and into Tuesday. Temperatures drop down into the teens, and with any little bit of a breeze, it's going to feel a lot colder than that. So here's a look at those wind chill values, and this goes to show you how strong this front is. You know, it's going to be feeling like the low to mid 70s Sunday afternoon, but as that front passes through, by Monday afternoon, it's only going to feel like the teens out there, and then waking up Tuesday morning, it could feel like the single digits as you're headed out to work or school. So you want to make sure that you have that winter jacket still prepared and ready to go. I know we probably all threw that in the back of the closet and forgot about it with all the warmer temperatures that we've had recently, but you're definitely going to need it headed out the door, at least through the beginning of the work week here, especially on Tuesday. So making sure you're dressing in layers and you're not spending too much time outside. Especially Tuesday morning. But here's a look at your 7-day forecast. I'm going to take that full screen so you guys can get a better look at it. Again, we're going to be on alert there Sunday night, specifically for that threat of severe thunderstorms. We're thinking areas in southern Illinois see those showers and storms pushing in between 6 and 8 p.m. and then eventually here through the Evansville metro area, areas up towards Princeton, down towards Henderson and Madisonville between 8 and 9 o'clock, and then out towards Owensboro and areas east of there between 8 and 11 o'clock, and I think that severe weather threat should come to an end between 11 and midnight. So it's not going to be an overnight threat for that severe weather, which is good news. Many of us will be able to go back to bed once those storms clear out of here. But then those temperatures drop significantly, and we're going to see a drop down into the upper 20s by Monday morning, along with that potential for some of those scattered light snow showers, perhaps picking up a quick little coating or up to a half an inch on grassy or elevated surfaces. Places like bridges and overpasses may get a little bit slick for a brief period of time, but we shouldn't really have much of an impact from that portion of this event. And then we will dry out there through the rest of the work week. Temperatures still very cold though Tuesday morning, down into the teens, and then potentially single-digit wind chill values headed out the door Tuesday morning. And then we finally warm back out of this brief snap of cold into the 50s there on Wednesday, and then topping out in the upper 60s once again towards the end of the work week, and potentially reaching 70 by the time we get into Saturday. So, you know, a real case of weather whiplash here over the weekend and into the start of the work week, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. And looking at some of the longer range forecasts here, it looks like we will stay on the warmer side through the middle and end of the month of March, and it also looks like we'll have a little bit more of a pattern flip to drier conditions. So we've had a very wet and active start to the month, so hopefully, because it came in like a lion, it'll end as a lamb for us. Usually March is just a lion from beginning, middle, and end. So if we can get a little break here towards the end of the month, that would be nice. But let me go ahead and check out any more comments or questions. I'll be happy to go through some of the timing once more, just so that anyone who joined a little bit late, you'll be able to see that. Let me go ahead and pull it up for you. All right. Let's see if this model is going to load for us right now. Nope. All right, so we're going to use the HRRR model. So the HRRR model, that is going to bring that shower or line of showers and storms here into southern Illinois, lining it up along the Wabash River there by around 7 o'clock. You can see there's even the chance for some prefrontal showers, but not expecting much development out ahead of that main line of storms. And then it brings it here into the Evansville area by around 8 p.m. This model wants to kind of bring it in and out of here a little bit earlier, so this could be you know, a little bit later by an hour if you know everything kind of lines up in a certain way, but we're still looking at primarily Sunday evening between 7 o'clock here in southern Illinois and 11 o'clock all the way off to our east. So it is going to be a very quick moving line of showers and storms that presses through the tri-state with some lingering showers on the back half as that leading edge clears out of here. So hopefully that answers all the questions for you guys. Let me go ahead and pull up the 7-day one more time and we'll end it on that. I don't see any other additional questions, so I am going to hop off the live stream, and I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 6 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Like I mentioned before, today is a gorgeous day, so take advantage of it, cut the grass, do some yard work, eat outside or whatever, because once we get into tomorrow, we're going to have some big changes. But much of the day on Sunday should also be fairly quiet. Just very windy out there, gusts between 40 to 50 miles per hour possible outside of any showers or thunderstorms. And then that line moves through, brings in that severe weather threat, a big drop in temperatures, and even the potential for some snow showers there early Monday morning. So that is the gist on the alert days here. I'm going to send you on your way. Everybody, have a great rest of your day.